For over 4,000 years, one giant stone creature has watched the desert of Egypt in silence. It has the body of a lion and the face of a king, and it is hiding secrets we are still trying to solve. Who built it? Why does it have no nose? And why do some of its stones look like they were carved by water in the middle of a desert? Archaeologists have spent decades digging, scanning, and studying every inch of this monument. What they have found is changing the way we understand ancient Egypt. This is the story of the Great Sphinx of Giza, the largest and oldest monumental statue on Earth. A mystery carved in stone, guarding the plateau of Giza for thousands of years. Let's uncover what archaeologists really discovered. The Great Sphinx sits on the Giza Plateau, just outside modern Cairo, Egypt. It is enormous, about 73 meters long. That's longer than a football field. And it stands about 20 meters tall, roughly the height of a 6-story building. It was not built block by block like the pyramids next to it. Instead, ancient workers carved it directly out of one single solid ridge of limestone bedrock. That means the Sphinx isn't just sitting on the ground, it is the ground, shaped into a lion. Its body is that of a crouching lion, a symbol of power and protection in ancient Egypt. But its head is human, wearing the striped royal headdress known as the namus, worn only by pharaohs. This mix of a king's head and a lion's body was meant to show a ruler who was as powerful and fierce as a lion. For thousands of years, people have stood in front of this face and asked the same question. Where was the inspiration for this face? Whose face is this really? To answer that, archaeologists had to go back to the very beginning of the Giza Plateau. The Giza Plateau is home to 3 massive pyramids, built for 3 different kings. The largest is the Great Pyramid, built for King Khufu around 2560 BCE. Next to it stands a slightly smaller pyramid, built by Khufu's son, King Khafre. And right beside Khafre's pyramid, connected by a stone causeway, sits the Great Sphinx. That location is one of the biggest clues to who built it. Most Egyptologists believe the Great Sphinx was built during the reign of King Khafre, around 2500 BCE. One major reason? The Sphinx and Khafre's pyramid line up almost perfectly on the plateau. They were most likely built as one connected complex, part of the same royal building project. There's also a temple built right in front of the Sphinx, called the Sphinx Temple. Its stone blocks are massive, and its layout matches the style of temples built during Khafre's rule. Even more telling, the Sphinx's face resembles known statues of Khafre found nearby. A famous statue of Khafre, carved from black stone, was discovered inside the Sphinx temple area itself. The facial structure, the shape of the headdress, and the royal cobra symbol all closely match the Sphinx. So while there is no ancient inscription that directly says Khafre built this, the evidence strongly points to him. Not every expert completely agrees. A small number of researchers think it may be slightly older. But the mainstream, evidence-based view remains firm. Khafre is the most likely builder. Building the Sphinx would have taken a huge amount of skill and manpower. Ancient workers used copper chisels, stone hammers, and sheer patience to shape the limestone. It's believed the project took years, if not decades, of continuous work. And once it was finished, this giant guardian would stand watch over Giza for the next 4,500 years. And once it was finished, this giant guardian would stand watch over Giza for the next 4,500 years. Its nose is gone, broken off the face centuries ago. There's a popular legend that Napoleon's soldiers shot the nose off with a cannon in 1798. It's a dramatic story, but historians say it isn't true.
Sketches of the Sphinx made decades before Napoleon even arrived in Egypt already show the nose missing.
So the damage happened long before the French army ever set foot on the Giza Plateau. Historical Arabic records point to a different explanation from the 14th century. A historian named al-Makrizi wrote about a religious figure named Muhammad al-Sayyam al-Darm. According to this account, he damaged the face because local farmers were making offerings to the Sphinx, hoping for a good harvest. He saw this as idol worship and struck the statue's face in protest. Whether every detail of that story is fully accurate is still debated by historians. But one thing is certain: the missing nose is a scar from human history, not from Napoleon's cannons. Now, here's where things get controversial. Look at the walls of the pit that surrounds the Sphinx's body. Instead of sharp, angular cuts, the surface looks wavy, rounded, almost like flowing water shaped it. This unusual weathering pattern led one geologist, Robert Schoch, to propose a controversial idea in the 1990s. He argued this kind of erosion looks like it was caused by heavy rainfall over a very long period. Egypt today is a dry desert, but thousands of years ago, its climate was different. Schoch suggested the heavy rain needed to cause this erosion happened before 5000 BCE, much earlier than Khafre's time. If that were true, the Sphinx would have to be thousands of years older than most experts believe. It's an exciting idea, but it is not accepted by most Egyptologists and geologists. Many scientists argue the weathering could instead be explained by wind and sand, acting over thousands of years. Others point out that the softer limestone layers naturally erode into these rounded shapes, with or without rainfall. And importantly, there is still no other archaeological evidence, no tools, no artifacts, from a civilization that old at Giza.
Everything else found on the plateau, pottery, tools, inscriptions, matches the time of Khafre, not an older era.
So, while the water erosion theory raises an interesting question, most experts still date the Sphinx to around 2500 BCE. This is actually a great example of how archaeology works. Someone proposes a bold new idea. Older scientists test it, question it, and compare it against all the existing evidence. And the answer that best fits all the evidence, not just one clue, usually wins out. For now, the erosion on the Sphinx remains a genuine unsolved puzzle. Geologists are still studying these rock formations today, using modern tools. Every new study adds one more piece to a puzzle that has taken over a century to work on. And the Sphinx, silent as always, keeps its secret. But its age isn't the only mystery hidden in the stone. Beneath the Sphinx's two front paws stands a large stone slab, covered in ancient writing. This is known as the Dream Stela, and it was placed there over 1,000 years after Khafre's time. It was set up by a young prince named Thutmose, who would later become Pharaoh Thutmose IV. According to the inscription, Thutmose fell asleep in the shadow of the Sphinx while out hunting in the desert. And in his dream, the Sphinx itself spoke to him. At the time, much of the Sphinx's body was buried under drifting desert sand, almost up to its neck. In the dream, the Sphinx, identified with the sun god Horamakhet, promised Thutmose the throne of Egypt. But there was a condition. Young Thutmose had to clear away the sand burying the Sphinx's body. When Thutmose became pharaoh, he kept that promise and ordered the excavation of the Sphinx. He then placed this large stone tablet between the paws to record the story for future generations. It's one of the earliest written records we have describing the Sphinx and giving it a name. This tells us something important. Even ancient Egyptians, over 1,000 years after it was built, saw the Sphinx as ancient and sacred. And this wouldn't be the last time the Sphinx had to be dug out of the sand.
Over thousands of years, the desert repeatedly buried the Sphinx again and again.
Each time, someone had to dig it out, a task attempted many times across different eras.
A full excavation of the Sphinx down to its base wasn't completed until the 20th century. In more recent decades, Egyptian archaeologist Dr. Zahi Hawass led major conservation work at Giza.
The goal wasn't just to study the Sphinx, but to protect it from further damage.
Wind, pollution, and rising groundwater in nearby Cairo all put stress on the ancient limestone.
Teams have used modern materials and careful stone repair techniques to reinforce weak and crumbling sections.
Each repair has to match the original stone as closely as possible, so history isn't erased in the process. It's a delicate balance between preserving the past and keeping the monument standing for the future.
And while restoration continued at Giza, archaeologists elsewhere in Egypt were making a discovery that would surprise everyone. Hundreds of kilometers south of Giza lies a place called Gebel el-Silsila.
It's a huge, ancient sandstone quarry where Egyptians cut stone for temples for thousands of years.
Swedish archaeologists Dr. Maria Nilsson and Dr. John Ward led excavation teams at this site.
And in this quarry, they uncovered something remarkable, the remains of an ancient sculptor's workshop. Among the finds, the partially carved shape of a Sphinx statue, left unfinished in the rock. Unlike the Great Sphinx of Giza, this statue was never completed or moved to its final destination. It gives archaeologists something incredibly rare, a frozen snapshot of the sculpting process itself. Normally, we only see the finished statues in temples and museums. Here, researchers could actually study the step-by-step method ancient sculptors used to shape stone into a sphinx. It shows how workers first blocked out the rough shape before carving finer details like the face and mane. The team also found other abandoned statues and inscriptions scattered throughout the quarry. Some pieces were likely abandoned because cracks or flaws appeared in the stone during carving. Ancient quarry workers couldn't risk shipping a flawed statue to a royal temple, so they simply left it behind. For archaeologists today, those failures are treasures. They reveal secrets that finished statues never could. This discovery reminds us that the Sphinx wasn't just one famous statue at Giza. It was a powerful symbol, carved again and again across Egypt for over 3,000 years. And that symbol was deeply connected to something else the ancient Egyptians worshipped: animals themselves. Ancient Egyptians believed many of their gods could take the form of animals. The lion was one of the most powerful symbols of all, representing strength and royal protection. The goddess Sekhmet, shown with a lioness head, was worshipped as a fierce protector and a goddess of healing. Temples across Egypt once held rows and rows of Sekhmet statues, meant to guard and protect. The cat goddess Bastet was also deeply important, linked to protection of the home and family. Because animals were sacred, ancient Egyptians also mummified them, just like they mummified people. Archaeologists have found enormous numbers of animal mummies across Egypt: cats, birds, and other creatures. Some were beloved pets. Others were offerings, left at temples as gifts to the gods. Modern scanning technology now lets researchers study these mummies without ever unwrapping them. CT scans reveal bones, and sometimes even the cause of death, hidden safely beneath the wrappings. This growing understanding of animal worship helps explain why the Sphinx itself combines a human king with a lion's body. The lion wasn't just a strong animal to the Egyptians. It was sacred, divine, and worthy of guarding a king. And the Sphinx wasn't the only massive secret hiding on the Giza Plateau.
For a long time, popular legend claimed the pyramids were built entirely by slaves. But decades of archaeological work by researchers like Dr. Mark Lehner have told a very different story. South of the pyramids, Lehner's team uncovered the remains of an entire ancient town. It included bakeries, food storage areas, and long buildings believed to be housing for workers. Evidence found here suggests skilled, organized workers were paid in food, beer, and other supplies. Animal bones found at the site showed workers were eating cattle, sheep, and goat, a solid, well-fed diet.
Nearby cemeteries for the workers were built with real care and respect, not the burial of slaves.
This evidence points to skilled laborers and seasonal farmers working in an organized, state-run building system. It was still incredibly hard physical work, but it wasn't slavery in the way the old legend describes. This discovery completely reshaped how modern archaeologists understand ancient Egyptian society. The people who built the pyramids and shaped the Sphinx were skilled craftsmen, proud of their work. And their achievement still stands, exactly where they left it, thousands of years later. Today, archaeologists don't just rely on shovels and brushes. Ground-penetrating radar can detect hidden chambers and structures buried beneath the sand without digging at all. 3D laser scanning creates precise digital models of the Sphinx, tracking even the smallest changes over time. These tools help experts monitor erosion, plan restoration, and search for structures still hidden nearby. Despite everything we now know, some questions about the Sphinx remain unanswered. Was there once a passage or chamber beneath it? Researchers continue investigating that possibility carefully.
Every new excavation season in Egypt brings the chance of another discovery that could change the story again.
The Great Sphinx has survived floods of sand, damage from human hands, and 45 centuries of time. It remains one of the most studied and most mysterious monuments ever built by human hands. And as long as it stands in the desert, archaeologists will keep searching for its secrets.